What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to the latest Liverpool transfer news report video, and I'm absolutely furious and devastated, really angry and upset that Martin Zubimendi has rejected Liverpool. He will stay at Real Sociedad. Who do you blame? Let me know in the comments below. And Richard Hughes probably is learning a very harsh lesson in this transfer window, that you don't leak Liverpool's interest in a player unless you are 100% certain that he will sign. And Richard Hughes, I can understand why he did it, because he wanted to put pressure on Real Sociedad to let Zubimendi go on a payment term or a 5-year payment structure. But Real Sociedad took the glove up and they did absolutely everything to convince Martin Zubimendi to stay, and they eventually succeeded. Paying the release clause is not as simple as Liverpool just forwarding the money to Real Sociedad, because in Spain the rules state that the player himself or Zubimendi's agent has to go into La Liga offices and pay the release clause themselves or himself. And that's why this was very tricky, because Zubimendi didn't really want to upset the Real Sociedad fan base, and Real Sociedad used emotional blackmail and all the tricks in the book to convince Zubimendi to stay, because they basically told Zubimendi, you have to yourself or your agent walk into La Liga offices and pay the release clause yourself if you want to leave your boyhood club. And he probably didn't have it in his heart to do it. And you have to respect player royalty to some degree, but also it's a pretty awful thing what Zubimendi did. He gave his word to Liverpool that I want to join Liverpool, I want to sign for you, so if you negotiate with Real Sociedad a transfer fee, I will go to Liverpool. And then he went back on his word, which is a really awful thing to do in my opinion. So Zubimendi is partly to blame. Of course, maybe if they force Zubimendi in some way to pay the release clause himself, and then Liverpool forwarded the money to Zubimendi straight away. If we did that very quickly in a couple of days, maybe this deal would have been successful. But I also in some way don't want a player to play for Liverpool, to put on a Liverpool shirt, who is not 100% committed and who is not 100% desperate to play for Liverpool. So now let's take a look at what the exact story and the details is, and what Liverpool's plans are going forward in this video. But if you appreciate me giving you guys daily updates of this crazy transfer saga and of course all the latest Liverpool transfer news updates, make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new around here, and turn on the bell notifications so you never miss the latest updates around Liverpool FC. So Louis Steele, James Pearce and various other journalists reported that Zubimendi rejected a move to Liverpool, even though Zubimendi gave his word to Liverpool. Real Sociedad convinced Zubimendi to stay in San Sebastian for the food and the hikes in the mountains. That's pretty ridiculous, but that's what this transfer saga has been about. So the move is off. Zubimendi was convinced to stay by a charm offensive from his current club, led by manager Alguacil. The manager held several meetings with Zubimendi and tugged on his heartstrings to stay, referencing how the fan base would be disappointed by his exit. He also talked a lot about how good Zubimendi's life is in San Sebastian. He made a presentation that centered around the good food options in the region, Zubimendi's hobby of hiking up Mount Ulia. He also talked about how the player told Spanish TV he would stay at La Real after the Euros final. What is this if it's not emotional blackmail? That basically he said all the things that Zubimendi wanted to hear, and he basically said that he would be a traitor in the minds of the Real Sociedad fans if he left. Liverpool were even prepared to pay Zubimendi's release clause and also offering him a big financial incentive. So Liverpool went way above and beyond of what is usually normal and offered Zubimendi a huge contract with big wages, big bonuses. Zubimendi in the end did not fancy leaving Real Sociedad, his boyhood club where he has played since he was 12 years old. So you have to respect it. He did a Steven Gerrard basically. The Liverpool believe, and this is the big problem. This is why I'm really mad and really angry. I'm not as angry about missing out on Zubimendi as I am about Liverpool coming out with this? Or is this just a journalist and Liverpool don't really want to leak any names that we are after? Maybe Richard Hughes is learning a lesson that we will only leak any name that Liverpool are after just as the player is about to sign for Liverpool. Multiple journalists came out with this, that Liverpool believe they have enough options in the defensive midfield area. With Alexis McAllister, he's not a defensive midfielder. Curtis Jones, not a defensive midfielder. Ryan Gravenberch, not a defensive midfielder. Waterrendo is the only senior defensive midfielder, and Arne Slot already told him he doesn't fancy him. He's not the kind of defensive midfielder that he wants in his playing style. Dominik Szoboszlai, not a defensive midfielder. Trent Alexander-Arnold, mainly a right back, and he can play in defensive midfield, but I don't think that's his best position. So Liverpool listed like 6 players, and they even put Trey Nioni in there in some reports. Absolutely ludicrous to put a 17-year-old kid as an option for the defensive midfield role. Don't put a pressure on a 17-year-old kid like that. Absolutely crazy. And I'm really angry. Just as Richard Hughes is said to be angry as he thought Zubimendi had given his word to join Liverpool. But until his signature is on the contract, then you don't leak it to the press unless you are 100% convinced that Zubimendi will join. Because we did this with Caicedo and Lavia and we got burned last summer. Now it's a similar scenario all over again. And the Liverpool fan base are very angry, and I like that. They need to put pressure on the owners to spend big. I would go all out for Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle. I would offer as much as for Caicedo. Bruno Guimaraes is twice the player as Caicedo is. So I wouldn't be even too mad if Liverpool offered 120 million for Bruno Guimaraes. And let's see if Newcastle can reject that offer. Let's see if we can turn the head of Bruno Guimaraes. But at the moment, the official Liverpool-based journalists are saying Liverpool are not interested in Bruno Guimaraes, which is absolutely crazy. He would be the absolute perfect signing for this role. He would be an even better signing than Martin Zubimendi, especially because Zubimendi doesn't even want to desperately play for Liverpool. And I don't want players who don't want to play for the shirt. Yes, it's right that Liverpool shouldn't sign players for the sake of it, but we have to sign a defensive midfielder. And don't tell me there is nobody else apart from Martin Zubimendi in the world who Liverpool could sign who would fit into Arne Slot's system, because that's not true. That's a blatant lie. Liverpool believed Zubimendi had given an unequivocal agreement to join the club. Fans are now asking questions, and rightfully so, of Liverpool's hierarchy, with Liverpool still the only club in Europe's top 5 leagues who haven't made the signing. Waterrendo has struggled to adapt to Arne Slot's more possession-based approach, and McAllister, Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai, Ryan Gravenberch played there, but they were all more effective further forward. Gravenberch has shown signs of promise in that deeper role. He is not the long-term answer. Gravenberch can play in the double pivot alongside Bruno Guimaraes or a Martin Zubimendi, a brilliant defensive midfielder. But Ryan Gravenberch shouldn't play there alongside McAllister because they are not ball-winning defensive midfielders. Bruno Guimaraes, as written by James Pearce, has been touted as a possible alternative to Zubimendi, but senior Liverpool sources, and listen to this, kept anonymous to protect relationships, are adamant they have no interest in Guimaraes. James Pearce wants to have relationships with senior Anfield officials. He doesn't say who is telling him that Liverpool are not interested in Bruno Guimaraes, but this is absolutely ridiculous that we are not interested in him, because he would be the perfect Liverpool signing. There have been discussions internally over defensive options since Matip left, but recruiting an attacking white player has also been a topic of debate. Liverpool actually agreed a 75 million transfer fee with Newcastle, for Anthony Gordon in late June, with Gomez set to move in the other direction for 45 million, but that deal collapsed. And now that Barcelona are interested in Luis Diaz, I will make a separate video on that, maybe later today or tomorrow, because that story has legs now. So if Luis Diaz is sold by Liverpool, then Anthony Gordon will hopefully be bought by Liverpool. Liverpool also have officially sold Fabio Carvalho to Brentford for a potential 27.5 million. It's 22.5 million plus 5 million with bonuses and add-ons. Brentford have officially announced signing Fabio Carvalho. Richard Hughes also negotiated 17.5% sell-on clause. That's actually a really good deal. So well done to Richard Hughes on that one. But Richard Hughes has a huge task ahead of him. Liverpool insists there is no plan B, and they are currently unlikely to pursue an alternative to Zubimendi. I mean, surely that's old information. Surely that cannot be accurate. Because if Liverpool seriously think we can get away with the full season without a defensive midfielder, and Arne Slot has asked for a defensive midfielder, Richard Hughes, your job is to deliver players to the manager that he needs. And if you don't do your job, you should get sacked. I'm sorry, but if we are in September and Liverpool haven't signed a defensive midfielder who is better than Vatarendo, then Richard Hughes should be sacked because he's not up to the job. That's my opinion. Let me know what is yours in the comments below. There is some hope, however, at the end of the tunnel. There is light, but I hope it's not the train coming and hitting us like a ton of bricks that we are not signing a defensive midfielder. So James Pearce is saying it remains to be seen if that stance in the coming weeks changes, given that the holding midfield position has been an area of concern throughout pre-season. I mean, for weeks we heard the journalists say Liverpool's priority is to sign a defensive midfielder. And David Ornstein said Liverpool are focusing on signing a defensive midfielder. And then he revealed we are going after Martin Zubimendi. Surely there is plan B, plan C, plan D. Surely we have a long list of defensive midfielders. Because we sold Fabinho last summer. We had 1 year to come up with a long list of defensive midfielders who are good enough to replace Fabinho. And we should go through that list and try and get the second best player behind Martin Zubimendi. Liverpool have been monitoring Georgi Mamardashvili, the Valencia goalkeeper, who had a terrific Euros. But that is a signing that Liverpool don't need right now. We don't need a goalkeeper. We have Alisson and Kelleher. Yes, it's good if we sign Mamardashvili and loan him back to Valencia for 1 or 2 years. On top of signing a defensive midfielder, on top of signing a wide forward, a right winger who can deputize for Mo Salah. But what I also don't understand, if we don't sign a defensive midfielder, why on earth would we even consider loaning out Stefan Bajcetic, who needs to play regularly? Stefan Bajcetic will play regularly if we only have Endo as our only defensive midfielder, apart from Bajcetic. I just don't understand Liverpool's thinking in this transfer window, honestly. But loaning out Bajcetic, selling Tyler Morton, and completely alienating Endo seems like a crazy approach for Liverpool when we are not signing another defensive midfielder. That's what the journalists are saying, that Liverpool are not interested in signing an alternative to Zubimendi. They have to change their minds on all these things. Yes, maybe you could sell Tyler Morton if you sign a defensive midfielder and you also keep Bajcetic. What if Endo suffers a big injury? Who will play defensive midfield? Curtis Jones? Gravenberch? Seriously? Are you for real, Liverpool? I mean, that is absolutely crazy. You have to reconsider this, because this James Pearce report on Bajcetic is only from this morning, so surely Liverpool will sit down internally and discuss their options, because this is crazy. If Liverpool loan out Bajcetic, sell Morton, and we are left with only Endo. Also, Ian Doyle posted actually something pretty upsetting and borderline disgraceful in my opinion. He said, impossible not to wonder what might have happened with Zubimendi had the lure of Klopp have been with Liverpool still. That's not a slight on Slot. Yes, it is. It is a slight at Slot, who hasn't had the chance to earn his reputation at the club. It's instead it's merely a warning of changing times. Have you forgotten that Jurgen Klopp was there and Caicedo still turned us down, Lavia has still turned us down, Jude Bellingham has turned us down, Tchouaméni has turned us down, and I could go on and on and on and on with so many players that turned Liverpool down, even when Jurgen Klopp was the manager. So this is not Arne Slot's fault at all. Arne Slot is a victim in this scenario. He should be backed fully by the owners, by Liverpool, signing players that he wants. Signing a brilliant defensive midfielder has to be a priority for Liverpool. I won't accept anything less. And I will hold off until September the 1st to make my judgment on the transfer window. But if by September 1st Liverpool haven't signed a brilliant defensive midfielder who is better than Endo, I will be FSG out and I will be Richard Hughes out, and Michael Edwards has to step in if Richard Hughes can't do his job properly. He says it's different to Tchouaméni, who Real Madrid wanted him, Lavia, Liverpool wouldn't pay money, and Caicedo, Liverpool left it too late. How is this different? How is this different? We did almost everything to sign Zubimendi, but in the end Zubimendi decided to stay. Lavia wanted to go to Chelsea, Caicedo wanted to go to Chelsea, Zubimendi wanted to stay at Real Sociedad. How is this different? New sporting director Richard Hughes is already facing a fight to convince fans of his virtues. This summer hasn't looked good so far at all. I mean, Lewis still is right. Richard Hughes' PR, personal reputation, is taking a battering. And I like this journalist that he's not defending the new regime at Liverpool. Liverpool are definitely undercooked going into the new season. We are playing Ipswich Town in 4 days, by the way, in 4 days. And we still haven't yet made the signing, which is not a huge deal. We have to get it right in the next 3 weeks. The huge deal is that we have very little time left in the transfer window, leaving ourselves short, and now clubs know that Liverpool are desperate to make some signings, so they will overcharge us. Liverpool left it too late. We should have made signings as soon as the Euros finished. Zubimendi has given his word to join Liverpool. If he didn't want the move, he was clearly not right. Not sure Hughes is to blame here, not fully anyway, but you can't hide that Liverpool need a couple of new faces to close the gap on Man City and Arsenal. No quality number 6 for 3 seasons now. Just look at Rodri and how big City's drop-off is without him. That's the difference between a quality operator in there and a makeshift option. And pressure is on for the new structure at Liverpool, on Richard Hughes, on Michael Edwards. Basically, Liverpool reduced a 3-month summer transfer window to a 3-week window in the name of assessing the squad, and now we missed out on our number 1 target. No contract renewals done. And imagine how Trent Alexander-Arnold and Van Dijk and Salah are all viewing this situation. Even Van Dijk publicly came out and said Liverpool need to make some signings. Liverpool need to strengthen the squad because the season is very long and we need reinforcements. So there is absolutely no excuse for Liverpool not to make any signings. The new brain trust will take the blame, but aligning these legends, Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, and leaving them to 1 year or like 12 months gives them all the leverage. And it puts Hughes in an almost impossible position. Now Liverpool will have to offer huge contracts to all 3 of them. And unless they sign, it will be huge for huge money. We will be left with a war among fans, blaming Trent or defending him so the fans can lambast the owners. With huge players seeing how the new regime plays out, it undermines the new bosses, Richard Hughes, Arne Slot. It creates an untenable power dynamic which is not sustainable, amplified by the new boss not yet having the status of the players potentially leaving. Yes, Arne Slot is the new guy on the block. He doesn't have the status of Van Dijk, of Salah, of Trent. So it's an uneven power dynamic. And it's actually criminal how Liverpool have neglected this defensive midfield spot. Every successful team in history who has won the Premier League has had a top defensive midfielder. We haven't properly replaced Fabinho yet. So Liverpool really need to start working in the transfer market. And Richard Hughes will know this isn't a good look. And he knows this will also tarnish his reputation at the club. Something has got to give, especially when the new coach has been talking about potential of signings and Van Dijk has been demanding new signings. And even Endo, the current only senior defensive midfielder, even he said Liverpool need a new defensive midfielder. And now we will find out the true character, the true value of Richard Hughes, of Michael Edwards and this new Liverpool structure. Do they have what it takes? And how they react to this situation will leave the longer lasting impression. And that is a very, very interesting times for Liverpool, and I'm really looking forward to how it plays out. Of course I'm nervous, but I'm also excited on what Liverpool will do under this intense pressure. So let's see how this plays out. I will keep you guys informed. Thanks for watching, have a nice day. See you later guys, goodbye.